Hi, good morning and welcome back to the Keys History and Discovery Center as we continue to explore the exhibits here at our facility. My name is Brad Bertelli and I'm the curator here at the museum. And today we are going to talk a little bit about early Matecumbe schools and some of the stories behind those structures. One of the earliest schools, as we'll see up in this picture up in here, which is really indicative of many of the early schools in the late early 1900s found here in the Florida Keys as a whole and the Upper Keys specifically. That's where we're concentrating our talks on. Were just one-room wooden structures, and that picture there was taken about 1906 during the construction of Henry Flagler's Oversea Railroad. And that building was originally located in the area of mile marker 83, kind of right behind what is today the Islamorada Post Office and what was formerly the Islamorada Train Depot, or what became the Islamorada Train Depot. Now, when the early pioneers first settled on Upper Matecumbe Key, the first family to homestead were the Russells, and they occupied the island kind of from Whale Harbor area to Island Christian School, kind of the first third of the island. And then the second family to arrive were the Pinders to homestead, and they kind of picked up where the Russells left off and had their homesteads from like the Island Christian School area to where we are here, at the Islander and Chica Lodge and the moorings, a couple miles up down the way, I guess it would be. But when the third family to homestead, the Parkers, arrived, they settled kind of behind where the Green Turtle is today. And the Russells and the Pinders and the families got together and decided it would be best to move the school to a more convenient location where all three families, as well as the other early pioneers who were living here, had a better accessibility to the school. So what they did is they took this one-room wooden school and they placed at the top a series of coconut palms and kind of rolled the school down to the water's edge. They floated it into the water and then placed it between two schooners and kind of floated it down the beach to where the Chica Lodge is today. And at the Chica Lodge, that became kind of the center of the Matecumbe community. That's where the school was, that's where the Matecumbe Methodist Church was, and that's also where one of the early pioneer cemeteries that are found on the islands was and is till today, then called the Pinder Cemetery, and today the Pioneer Cemetery. Now, this one-room structure, no air conditioning, hot, mosquitoes, great place to sit and try to concentrate on your studies. Once this building was destroyed or torn down, it was replaced with this structure here, circa 1924, and this was a two-room coral rock building. And there were actually two of these structures that were constructed, two sister schools. This one on the what's today the Chica Lodge property, and then the other school was built up in Rock Harbor. Several weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, we were at the Reef House on one of our field trip Fridays, talking about the Alberry, one of the Alberry families who donated property for the Rock Harbor grammar school. And that was an identical school to this, and that school can still be visible, or the bones of that school can still be visible from the highway. It's in the median about mile marker 97, 98, and today it is home to the Key Largo Moose Lodge. Now, this structure was again on the beach with lots of open windows to help those Atlantic breezes come in to both cool off the students and also to help combat the mosquitoes and the no-see-ums, the biting flies that were and are still such a pleasure to be around here in the Florida Keys. And that structure would be destroyed in the 1935 Labor Day hurricane. But before we move on from that, can you see this picture down here? This is a picture of the Matecumbe Methodist Church on the grounds of the Chica Lodge that was there prior to the Labor Day hurricane. And in the back of the picture, you can see just the edges of the Matecumbe Grammar School. These are kind of cool features. Here we have it on the exhibits in our Stories of the Upper Keys feature. There are little boxes that you can turn, and shows different pictures and stories about the Florida Keys, about the upper area. And these are some of the students that were standing in front of the school. This is prior to 1935. This is the students who were there in 1934, just before the hurricane. I believe Alma Dalton is here or here, who is still a surviving member of our community. And but this school was destroyed in the hurricane, and as was much of the Islamorada, in those days the Matecumbe community specifically, which was located here on Upper Matecumbe Key. And then as students began to come back, during the 1936 school year, there was a building that was constructed after the hurricane, constructed by the Sweeting family. Today it is home to the Villa Properties, owned by Patty Stanley, and it is just south of the Hurricane Monument and kind of next to Cayo Restaurant. And that structure was one of the very first buildings built after the 1935 hurricane. And during that first year of 1936 school year, the bottom floor was rented out for, I think, $8.40 to act as the temporary Matecumbe school while the new school was being built. The following year in 1937, as more students came back to the area, it was the entire first floor of the building was rented out, plus one floor of the second building, of the second story was rented out. And that became the school for the 1937 school year. Now by 1938, by the time school started in 1938, the new Matecumbe Grammar School had been constructed. And that building was built in much the same way as the Red Cross or hurricane houses were built for the survivors of the 1935 hurricane, in that the 18-inch thick walls that were reinforced with rebar, elevated off the ground. There was an internal cistern system set up, and these buildings were constructed as safe places to go during the hurricane. And the Matecumbe Grammar School acted as the school, yes, but also as a house of refuge in case another storm came in. And today that building is known as the Islamorada Library. It has been augmented quite a bit, so there's been some additional structures added onto the building, but the bones of that building are still very much intact. And much like the two-room choral structure, there was a sister school built for the 1938 school, and that was the Tavernier Grammar School, which is located in the Tavernier community. And that building, too, is still standing and is still the health department. It's not the health. For a long time, it was a doctor's office, and then it was home for the health department, and I'm not sure actually what it is today.
There's nothing there today. It's been largely abandoned. I believe the county still owns it, but it's located behind the Tavernier Volunteer Fire Department.
Yes. Excellent. Thanks, Erin. Anyway, so the third version of the Matecumbe School closed in 1951 when Coral Shores opened up, and that is on Plantation Key. And today that is home to Coral Shores High School, and is one of the early high schools in the area. When it first opened in 1951, it was not a complete high school. There was no grade 12. So if you wanted to go to school for the 12th grade, a lot of people, Erin's grandfather, for instance, would spend some of the school week down in Key West with family or friends, and then come back on the weekends. in order to achieve their high school diploma. Eventually there was a 12th grade added to the Coral Shore School, and today that is quite an impressive school. And that's what we're going to wrap up with today's talk on early Matecumbe schools and Islamorada schools in general. Now we have some cool things that are happening for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night we have a webinar featuring archaeologist Ryan Hark, who's going to talk about an a prehistoric Indian site on Stock Island. He's been doing some really excellent research down there, and he's going to talk about what he's found. And then on Thursday, we'll be back here at the Keys History and Discovery Center, where at 10 o'clock, where I will be exploring another aspect of one of our great exhibits. For tomorrow night, it is a webinar that you need to sign up for. There is a link on our Facebook page. You can go to keysdiscovery.com/virtual programming, and you can virtual programs, and you can sign up for the webinar there. And there will also be another link posted tomorrow morning that will have a link and more information about Ryan's program. And then for Friday, we'll be doing our Field Trip Fridays. And I want to encourage everyone out there, if you have some place that you want us to visit and talk about, feel free to send us a note, and we will eventually hit them all. We'll be doing this from now on. This is kind of part of our weekly programming now. So our Field Trip Fridays will definitely continue. And so if you have some place that you want to learn more about, some place you want us to visit, please let us know, and we'll be happy to add that to our list of destinations. So you guys have a great afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow night, and then actually we'll see you for the rest of the week. Bye-bye. Thank you.